Hey, this is Warren Redlick. I did a space on X trying and hoping that maybe I could get some anti Israel people in to discuss real questions about what's happening in Gaza. You can see I did the space Gaza, hostages, Hamas, long term solutions, and genocide. None of them came in. And I think this is a sign of there's something I'm seeing in society and what we're seeing on X, what we're seeing on YouTube comments that indicates what's really happening in the propaganda war. Okay. And I did this on purpose: hostages, Hamas, long term solutions, and genocide. Because I wanted to address the points in this order. And for whatever reason, although these people are very active on X, and there's tons of them, there's like, I don't know how many of them are trolls and how many of them are real people, but nobody came in. Nobody asked to speak. From there, other people came in to just chat. It was we actually talked about Tesla as much as we talked about this topic, but nobody came in from the anti-Israel side. And this is because propaganda doesn't want to engage in actual conversation. They don't want to have an intelligent conversation. They don't want to address questions that don't fit with the propaganda. So I did get some engagement on my YouTube channel. We had an extended conversation and I finally got it out of him. He says, as far as the Israeli-Palestinian situation, one of my questions is, what's your long-term solution to the problem? He says, as far as the Israeli-Palestinian situation, the first thing that has to happen is the same thing that has happened in every other ethno-supremacist state that claims to be a democracy. Every Arab state is an ethno-supremacist state, and some of them pretend to be democracies. To end the occupation, to end and for all people living in that region to be recognized as having equal rights. What occupation? What he really means is to eliminate the state of Israel, right? Because it's an ethno-supremacist state, as opposed to all the other This is the only ethno-supremacist state that needs to end. None of the other ethno-supremacist states, only Israel, only the one that has Jews in it. That's the one that needs to end. So what they're really saying when they say free Palestine, when they say from the river to the sea, what they're saying is eliminate the state of Israel. What they will say is, well, that will create basically a utopia where everyone will have equal rights. You can see it at the bottom, to be recognized as having equal rights. That's not what's going to happen if you eliminate the state of Israel. If you eliminate the state of Israel, then the Israeli military is gone. Hamas and Hezbollah and whoever is with them comes in and kills every Jew they can. They kill every Christian they can. They kill every Druze, Druze. They kill them. They love killing them. They kill anybody who's not on their side. They kill Muslims. They kill anybody that's in their way so they can establish power and impose their will. And women won't have equal rights, as they don't in Gaza. Women will not have equal rights. LGBT will not have equal rights or not have anything close to equal rights. That is the end result of this fantasy of eliminating the state of Israel. So I just wanted to cover that point, and I wanted to dive into the propaganda that we're seeing. This is the latest propaganda is we're at stage 5 of malnutrition in Gaza. 85% of Gaza's population is in the 5th stage of malnutrition, IPC phase 5. Phase 5, stage 5. I don't remember stage 4, but it's not just this one. It's 85% of Gaza, really. 5th stage. The Zionist entities impose stage 5 malnutrition. They're repeating the same points over and over again. They never address Hamas. 85% again. Look at this, 85%. 85%. 5th stage, deadliest stage of malnutrition. They're all on message. There are these bot troll accounts and paid accounts, whatever, that are just repeating the same message over and over again. Yesterday it was genocide. Now it's genocide again. They just keep ethnic cleansing. They have these key phrases, and it's designed to just bombard the people who aren't wise enough to recognize what's going on, and just keep hammering away at them and hammering away at them. It's the evil Zionists. It's the evil Jews. This is what's causing these problems. Never talk about Hamas. Never talk about the hostages. Never talk about what's your long-term solution to the problem. It's just constantly brand your target as evil because your goal is to make everyone hate Jews. Your goal is to destroy the state of Israel. So this is what's happening, and they won't address the hostages. The hostages, it's a war crime. It's an ongoing war crime. From October 7th to the present, Hamas has been committing a war crime. And you'll see them say, well, if you wanted the hostages, you should have agreed to this deal. No, it's a war crime to hold the hostages and use them in negotiations. Hamas should just release the hostages. It's an ongoing war crime. And oh, no, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. That doesn't justify Israel committing war crimes. Israel is not committing war crimes. Israel's going out of its way to avoid killing innocent civilians. Hamas goes out of its way to kill innocent civilians, including their own innocent civilians. The food aid, they're whining about the food aid. The problem is that UNRWA, which was distributing food, has been letting Hamas steal the food, letting Hamas sell the food. UNRWA is basically an offshoot of Hamas. Why would we reward Hamas with money for committing war crimes? But they won't talk about that. And then what's your long term? You will see that these people will never talk about it. Their long term solution is eliminate the state of Israel because you define the Zionist entity as evil, and then it must be eliminated, ignoring the fact that Hamas is an evil entity that must be eliminated, and the Zionists are the ones who are trying to eliminate the evil entity. And, secretly, they don't talk about it much. Saudis don't like Hamas. The Saudis don't like Palestinians. The Egyptians don't like Hamas. The Egyptians don't like Palestinians. They're quiet about it. They don't, if you think about it, countries that are governed by dictators and kings do not like radical Islam, which says that the country should be governed by clerics, by, the Islamic clerics. They don't want government by religion. They want government by their power. So they're all threatened by it. And I think the Saudis in particular, United Arab Emirates, have figured out they can do business with Israel. There's no point in doing business with Palestinians. The Palestinians don't do any business. Egypt stinks when it comes to business. Syria, Jordan, they're terrible at business. The Jews are good at it. Israel is good at doing business, and the Saudis like doing business with people who are good at doing business. United Arab Emirates loves that stuff. They would like to get to the point where we could end this problem and they could start working with Israel to build a new Gaza that actually gives a good life to the Palestinians. The Hamas doesn't care about the Palestinian people. Hamas uses the Palestinian people as fodder for their wars. They want more deaths. They use their death, any harm to any. If Israel doesn't kill a Palestinian, Hamas kills them and blames it on Israel. It's a death cult, in the words of Douglas Murray. So I just wanted to hit this point because I see this over and over again, and I would love. Listen, there's comments on YouTube, there's replies on X. Let me know what you think, but here's my rule. I'll respond if you don't do it. What do you think about the hostage situation? Do you acknowledge it's a war crime? Do you acknowledge that Hamas should release the hostage and that should happen regardless of anything Israel does? Do you acknowledge that Hamas is a bunch of war criminals, a death cult, whose goal is to kill as many people as possible, including their own people? Do you acknowledge that that's what Hamas is? Do you acknowledge that Hamas is an evil entity? What's your opinion? Put this in your replies on X or in your comments on YouTube. Do you see a long-term solution for the region that doesn't involve destroying the state of Israel? Because any solution you have that involves destroying the state of Israel, I don't think Israel's going to go for that. And they have lots of guns. They have lots of weapons. They have nukes, probably. I don't think they've admitted it, but they have nukes. Like, you're not going to destroy the state of Israel, so what long-term solution do you have in mind? I don't think you have one. But if you have a long-term solution, then don't tell me that you're going to eliminate the state of Israel and then fairies are going to come down and make a utopia in the land that calls Palestine. That's absurd. You have a real solution, a two-state solution. Well, Hamas isn't going for your two-state solution. Hezbollah is not going for your two-state solution. Iran is not going for your two-state solution. The answer, my long-term solution, is Israel has to destroy Hamas. Saudis, Egyptians, the other Arab countries have to go along with it, and they have to participate in destroying Hamas and Hezbollah. And then for Gaza, and to some extent the West Bank, if the Palestinian Authority wants it, bring in the Saudis, United Arab Emirates, the other Arabs who want to invest and build a thriving economy in Gaza. Jared Kushner talked about this on the Lex Friedman podcast a couple years ago, that was the plan until Biden won and interfered with the plan and basically screwed everything up, that they were working with the Saudis. They were working, I think, with the United Arab Emirates, maybe even with Qatar, to basically remake Gaza as a resort and a resort community and a thriving community that creates a lot of good jobs for the Palestinians without Hamas getting its piece of the pie, without turning Hamas leaders into billionaires, and without having a death cult that's killing people all the time. That's a good solution, but it requires eliminating the death cult. If you recognize that Hamas is an evil entity, then you have to ask yourselves, well, we're not going to knock Israel out, Maybe we should focus on knocking Hamas out, and that will save lives. Because trying to knock Israel out ain't going to work. So, do you actually care? And this is the thing: these protesters, these people, they don't care about Palestinians. They care about propaganda. They could care less about the future of the Palestinian people. And just go back 1948 to 1967. Egypt, Syria, and Jordan controlled most of the land that is now what you call Palestine. Did they create a Palestinian state? No. They didn't want the land for the Palestinians. They wanted it for themselves. They kept control of it themselves. They didn't care about the Palestinians. They never cared about the Palestinians. They never have. They never will. Saudis don't care about them. Even the people who are protesting, they don't care about the Palestinians. They just hate Jews. That's what's really going on. They hate Jews. They hate the state of Israel. They've been programmed to hate Jews. They've been programmed to hate the state of Israel. Even though there's like Israeli chips in their phones and they're using their cell phones and there's all kinds of Israeli technology that comes out that makes life better for everyone. And Hamas and the Palestinians have done jack all for humanity. Whose side do you want to be on? But again, please address hostages, Hamas, long-term solutions, and then you can talk about genocide. And there is no genocide. It's nonsense. Israel is not trying to kill as many Palestinians as possible. They're not ethnic cleansing. They have Arabs living in Israel, peacefully participating in the Israeli society. They're trying to target Hamas, and Hamas keeps putting civilians in the way. And Israel does a spectacular job of minimizing civilian casualties. Hamas tries to maximize civilian casualties. If you actually look at reality, you can see Hamas is trying to maximize civilian casualties. Jewish, Christian, Palestinian. And Israel is trying to minimize civilian casualties. Whose side are you on again? Really? Are you real? And don't say, well, I'm not on side of Hamas. I just want Israel to stop what it's doing. If you want Israel to stop what it's doing, you want Hamas to survive, and you are on Hamas's side. You are doing what Hamas wants. Tell me I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in your replies. Let's have at it. Thanks very much.